Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. We are well. It's raining heavily here in Houston. You might have heard of Hurricane Hannah that hit South Texas. It's not that bad over here. It's just raining a lot since last night. As you can see by the window, there's just a lot of rain. I want to talk to you today about how you can survive and thrive during these uncertain times. It's not a surprise that we live in very uncertain and challenging times. The pandemic, the effects and the impact it brought on our lives, the economy, and the social unrest. There are so many things that create anxiety, stress, fear, if we let them. But I want to talk to you about how you can take control of your life, how you can be in charge of your life and sit in the driver's seat and survive and thrive this crisis. So the first thing is, what are you focusing on? Starting to be mindful of what you are focusing on. Are you focusing on things that are outside your control? Are you focusing on the pandemic or the economy? Or are you living in fear? All of that is not going to serve you, right? Anything that you focus on creates an emotion. When you focus on these things, it creates anxiety, fear, frustration, anger, all the negative emotions that are probably not going to serve you, right? I'm not saying hide them, acknowledge everything, as they are, face the situation as it is, not worse than it is, but just accept it as it is, and don't be afraid to feel any negative emotion they create. And then shift your focus. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the solution. What can you do? Yes, the pandemic, especially in Texas, California, and Florida, it's increasing. But what can you do? Do the things that are under your control. Frequent hand washing, social distancing, wearing mask when you're outside, and do things to decrease stress, like exercise, eating healthy food, drinking plenty of water. Do all the things that are good for you. And so the first one, like I said, is focus on things that you can control, things that you can solve, focus on the solutions than the problems themselves. The second shift in focus you can do is focus on gratitude. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude have a better health, better relationships, and they are more productive. Gratitude creates a positive emotion, and we know that your emotion creates your action, right? Dictate your action, or is the reason for you not to take actions too. And so, but it's human nature and we have a tendency that we focus on what's missing, not what we have. So be intentional about focusing on what you have, on gratitude. There are so many things we take for granted, especially, some good qualities our spouse, our kids have. We tend not to focus on the good ones. We tend to focus on what is missing in them, right? And so start focusing on the positive qualities your spouse, your children have, and see how your relationship changes. And also be intentional about being grateful for your health, having a place to live, having access to clean water and, healthy nutrition. We do have access, although we may not take the right steps we need to always eat healthy. And so those are the two shifts in focus you can start practicing to change your emotions and your actions. The third one is eating healthy nutrition. It's very clear that the typical American diet is full of calories and devoid of nutrients. And so I want to talk to you about things you can avoid and what you can do instead to make sure that you're getting the right nutrients your body needs. So the first thing to avoid is sugar and flour. You might not be ready to avoid those, but I want to invite you to pay attention to how you feel when you consume sugar and flour. Or avoid sugar and flour for a few days and see how you feel. I can tell you from experience that every time I consume sugar and flour, I feel fatigue, I have mind fog. It doesn't serve me, and so I am always intentional in avoiding them. And so, but if you cannot, when are the times you give in, be mindful, intentional, and see what you can do to avoid those. The second thing to avoid is packaged and processed food. Packaging and processing in the factory, in the plants, makes the food devoid of the nutrients, and they also add a lot of chemicals to preserve them, to increase their shelf life. The food factory is focused on profits than the nutritional value you get from them. And so yes, it is easy to grab packaged and processed food instead of buying fresh fruits and vegetables and prepare them. I get it, but the consequence they have on your health is dire. And so there's a saying that said that eat food grown in plants, not processed in manufacturing plants. And so be intentional about it, about preparing and grocery shopping in advance, having healthy, nutritious meals in the house, and you can prepare for a week if needed. You can package them, freeze some of them. Healthy nutrition doesn't have to be expensive. My friend was saying in the last interview we had, buy lentils and beans. It might take time for them to, when you cook it, to be ready, but if you soak beans, for example, it would be faster for them to cook. And so they have a lot of fibers, healthy protein, and be intentional in having a lot of plant-based diet, nutrition in your diet. And you can see how you feel. I have some days where I only eat fruits and vegetables, mostly uncooked, like slices of watermelon, salad, and avocado. On those days, I have really high energy. I have very clear mind. It makes me feel really good. And so be intentional about, consuming more fruits and vegetables, preferably fresh, uncooked ones, and you can see how you feel and the impact they have on your health. The third one to avoid is alcohol and substances. We used to think that a glass of wine is good for your health. It will decrease your cardiovascular risk, but recent studies are showing that the amount of alcohol you need is 0. You don't really need any alcohol. The disadvantage outweighs any benefit you might get from alcohol and other substances. And so it's time to take charge. You can have excuses. I'm feeling stressed, I'm going to have a glass of wine or a beer, or I'm going to smoke. You can say that and you can have excuses for that, but it's time, I believe, to take charge of your health and not let excuses take charge, right? Start, sitting on the driver's seat of your life, and lead your life. I hope you found value in this. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe, like and share with others. I'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.